Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day. Don't forget, grab your smartphone and download the Lava Matra app and stay in touch. Guru Maharaj's message is your advantage. The following is a Zoom session at the ISKCON Youth India Conference by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj on November 5th, 2020 in Sridham, Mayapur, India.
Makakaroti dachalam mangulang ayate garam yakshivadamahan bande Srigaram dinatadinam Paramanandamadavam Sri Chaitanya Islam Harihi Om Tat Sat. I was just expressing to Srivatsa Shyamsundar Das.
So I was just expressing to Srivatsa Shyamsundar Das.
After I recently visited the South Indian Goshalas.
After I recently visited the South Indian Goshalas.
And I would like to visit all the bases.
That I would like to visit all the bases.
South India and East India.
South India, East India.
To see the bases. Why just the Goshalas?
To see the bases. Why just the Goshalas?
So, and I was thinking also maybe the pujaris.
Then I was thinking also maybe to the pujaris. I'll visit the pujaris.
And then I got a phone call. Someone suggested I should visit pujaris.
So then I got a phone call. Someone suggested that I should visit pujaris.
Anyway, my first idea was to visit the bases.
Anyway, my first idea was to visit the bases.
Because I thought that was the right important, and I'd like to see what is going on.
Because I thought that's very important. I would like to see what's going on.
Now that we have this internet connection,
Now as we have this internet connection,
I'm able to actually be more mobile.
I am able to be actually more mobile.
Although I'm physically challenged,
Although I am physically challenged.
I'm virtually mobile.
And virtually mobile.
So in one day in 1 hour or two, I could see many bases.
In an hour or two, I can see many bases.
But normally I would only be able to see 1 or 2 a day.
But normally I would be able to see only 1 or 2 a day.
And I like to be more in touch with what is going on.
And I would like to be more in touch with what's going on.
I was talking to Radhe Shyam about some of the PowerPoints and the videos that they have.
I was talking to Radheshyam Prabhu for some of the PowerPoints, videos they have.
And he said that he would make them available to me.
And he said that he'll make them available to me.
So, I don't know if you're having. I'd like to see those.
I don't know if you're happy. I would like to see those.
You're having those.
If you're having them.
And right now there's no exact ministry for the youth preaching.
Now, right now, there's no exact ministry for youth preaching.
In the U.S., there has one youth minister.
In US, there's one youth minister.
But he mainly deals with the children of devotees.
But he mainly deals with the children of devotees.
And that's Manu Das. Yeah.
That's Manu Das.
But in India, we do the college preaching.
But in India, we do the college preaching.
And that's our main focus.
That's our main focus.
So, it's very interesting.
It's very interesting.
And we see that our future lies in having good
We see
educated youths
that our future lies in good educated youths,
being part of the Krishna conscious
being
movement.
part of the Krishna conscious movement.
And so I don't know if there's any, they're part of our congregation.
They are part of our congregation.
I'm the co-minister of the congregational development.
I am the co-minister of congregation development.
We have for children, we have for grihastas.
We have for children, we have for grihastas.
Why not youth?
Why not youth?
So, there's some way that we can be part, or some way that we can help as our ministry.
If there is some way that we can help with our ministry,
I'd also like to do that.
we would also like to do that.
Recently, I've been making a lot of videos,
Recently, I've been making a lot of videos.
and maybe there's some videos that are using in the youth program.
Maybe there are some videos which they are using in the youth program.
Actually, we also have various programs like Bhakti Diksha and Namhat.
And also, we have various other programs like Bhakti Vriksha Namhat.
Bhakti Diksha can be adapted to youth.
Bhakti Vriksha can be adapted to youth.
It's fairly active.
It's fairly active.
Namhat is more like a class, question and answer, prasad.
Namata is more like class, question answers, prasad.
But the Bhakti Diksha is much more interactive.
But Bhakti Vriksha is much more interactive.
There's a chanting, of course,
There is chanting, of course,
but there's also icebreaker,
but there is also icebreaker.
and the discussion has 3 phases.
That their discussion has 3 phases:
Discovery,
discovery,
understanding,
understanding,
applications.
application.
And then preaching strategy, outreach strategy,
Then outreach strategy,
so archana,
archana,
and then prasada.
then prasadam.
So that can be adapted to the youth.
So that can be adapted to the youth.
And many old people don't like the Bhakti Diksha system so much
Many old people, they don't like Bhakti Vriksha system so much
because they're not so active.
because they are not so active.
So Bhakti Diksha, we found it very useful
Bhakti Vriksha, we found it very useful
for the youth.
for the youth.
So they can discuss, they can apply,
So they can discuss,
they can apply.
they can apply.
So I'm interested. Prabhupada told me once one instruction is to expand the Krishna conscious preaching unlimitedly.
One of the instructions by Srila Prabhupada to me is to preach Krishna consciousness movement unlimitedly.
So that's an unlimited instruction.
That's an unlimited instruction.
So youth preaching is youth outreach, definitely an area
So youth outreach is definitely an area
of great importance.
of great importance.
I thank all of you for your efforts in this regard.
So I thank all of you for your efforts in this regard.
And so I'll give 15 minutes for questions.
I'll give 15 minutes for questions.
Will you ask or will you see that in the chat box?
So
Yes, Maharaj.
okay. We can see in the chat.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. It was very inspiring. Just to have you is inspiring, and to hear from you is even more inspiring. Thank you very, very much, Maharaj. So much grateful to you for taking out your precious time. So let's have Q&A, and we will have first question coming from this place, Radhesham.
Maharaj, I had one question regarding this discover, understand, the one which you said a few minutes ago. Maharaj, one of the challenges we face while going to the college youth is getting the dwell time between the teacher and the student. Like preachers are ready to give lectures, we are brahmacharis, we have ample time. But the students are not ready to come and sit for 2 hours, 3 hours like in those days. Like when I was in IIT, morning we would come for the class at 9:30 or 10 o'clock and we will go back to our room by 2 o'clock practically. We had enough time for 1.5 hours class, then question answers, prasadam, chanting 1 or 2 rounds, hanging around the preacher and talking to the preacher. Often we would go to ISKCON temple also. But modern day students are very much hard pressed for time. And to get them to come to center itself is becoming very challenging nowadays. And I tried applying this one, Discover Understand application. I just take one paragraph from Prabhupada's purports and then try to do this Discover Understand application. Only thing is, the amount of spiritual content that we are able to give them becomes minimized because of the time. And they are not available for every week also, class. So therefore I made lessons which are about 8 pages along with multiple choice questions, and in 1 hour we finish about 8 pages along with filling up some little multiple choice questions, sticking the answer. Because once they get a spiritual content, substantial something, they think about it and then start giving more time for Krishna and less time for Maya. But if enough substance doesn't go in, then they get very little substance and then Maya practically takes them away in the current. So I wanted to know from you, very little time available, what would you suggest us to make it very impactful, association very impactful?
I saw Chaitanya Avatari in Bangalore is working on this.
Chaitanya Avatari in Bangalore, he is working on this.
Instead of having a discovery of reading some verse,
Instead of having discovery of reading of some verse,
he's putting the verse in a video format.
he's putting the verse in the video format.
Like a 3-minute short video.
Like a 3-minute short video.
Clip it.
Snippet.
And then he shows that.
And then he shows that.
And then have people go directly into the understanding.
And have people directly go to the understanding.
What is 2 or 3 more most important points.
What are the 2-3 most important points?
And then have people discuss.
And then have people discuss.
Go around the room.
Go around the room.
And then how do you apply this knowledge in your daily life?
And then how you apply this knowledge in the daily life.
And then there's like 6 different ways it can be applied.
So like 6 different ways it could be applied.
So in this way, by using you can also, you don't need to read 8 pages. 1 page is enough.
You don't need to read 8 pages. 1 page is enough.
I have more knowledge than they can absorb.
I have more knowledge than they can absorb.
So this aspect of discussion could be completed in 45 minutes, right?
This aspect of discussion could be completed in around 45 minutes.
Maybe less, I don't know.
Maybe less, I don't know.
I didn't try to compress less. But, and also like in the beginning, some kind of icebreaker may be good.
Also, in the beginning, maybe some kind of icebreaker may be good.
Something less philosophical, more like there's some variety of icebreakers.
So, less philosophical, like icebreakers.
What do you like to eat? Or I don't know. A whole book on icebreakers.
They have a whole book on icebreakers.
So that would just get them like loosen up from the classroom.
So that will let them loosen up in the classroom.
So a 10-minute icebreaker, 10-minute chanting, 5-minute chanting.
So like 10 minutes icebreaker, 5 minutes chanting.
And then a half-hour discussion.
A half-hour discussion.
So they have, it's like, pulling down the heart takes 2 hours. Full Bhakti Vriksha takes about 2 hours.
Full Bhakti Vriksha takes about 2 hours.
But they have also like what they call manjaris.
They also have like they call manjaris.
Which takes like an hour.
Which takes like an hour.
So You can see how much time they can tolerate.
You can see how much time they can tolerate.
Whether they should have a manjari or bhakti riksha.
Whether we should have Manjari or Bhakti Vriksha.
Maharaj, thank you, Maharaj. That was nice, Maharaj. Maharaj, I had a question in this connection. Actually, nowadays, as you rightly said, many, whether it is college youths or working youths, people are looking for light engagement, light program. Many of them even look for breathing exercises and yoga and jogging and some relaxing music and meditation and this kind of things people are looking for. And if we provide them a very light environment, people actually come for relief, stress relief. And they get relieved of the stress and then say bye-bye and go away. And in congregation we observe that if husband or wife becomes devotee, then the whole family, Swabandhu Mandal, the whole family becomes devotees in a family. Whereas in amongst the youths we find they are too much stooped in extracurricular activities, and when they come to the center, if they get a light thing, this acts like a stress relief center. They come, relieve themselves and push off. So we will surely give a try to what you said, Maharaj. In some other places we can give a try and to put up a lighter program and see whether the youth stick on for a longer time. One of the pressing problems of the youth is they come with a lot of lusty propensities. They face a lot of challenges with dealing with opposite sex. So they are very volatile in that commitment.
A lot of light activities. The thing is chanting, singing is very light.
As far as light activity, chanting, singing is very light.
Actually, that's much more effective, much more purifying than this breathing exercise.
But actually, that's much more purifying than this breathing exercise.
The art of living, all that, they promote this breathing exercise.
Art of living, etc., they promote this breathing exercise.
Yeah.
But if we can get the people to chant or sing,
But if we can get the people to chant or sing,
dance,
dance,
that can loosen up.
it's like loosen up.
And but that way, they actually get more purified.
That way they can actually get more purified.
And because people are seeing themselves as the body,
Because people are seeing themselves as the body,
and they think that the body, the senses have to be satisfied.
they think that the body, the senses, they have to be satisfied.
And therefore, lusty desires are very prominent.
That's why the lusty desires are very prominent.
And so how to engage their energy
So how to engage their energy
in such a way that their energy will be a bit utilized.
in such a way that their energy would be better utilized.
And that's why we see that many people, they may not be very interested to be brahmacharis.
That's why we see that many people, they might not be interested in being brahmacharis.
So, and if they, like in the West, somehow the ladies are actively preaching.
Like in the West, somehow the ladies, they're actively preaching.
And therefore many men are attracted.
Therefore, many men are attracted.
And many men are preaching, and the ladies are attracted.
And if the men are preaching, the ladies are attracted.
Now, I heard that in the Indian universities, it's quite open.
I heard in the Indian universities, it's quite open.
Maybe more than the West.
Maybe more than the West.
So, could be a big challenge.
Could be a big challenge.
Maharaj, thank you, Maharaj. It was very nice directions you gave us. Maharaj, how did Prabhupada instill a very strong Sambandha Gyan in all of you, in your generation, disciples of Prabhupada? We see that you have a very strong sense of identity with Srila Prabhupada and with Krishna. What do you think happened in Prabhupada's preaching to all of you. And now we find it pretty difficult in the modern current times. How you all feel such a strong sense of, it's called a sense of belonging to Srila Prabhupada and to Krishna.
A strong sense of belonging to Prabhupada, to Krishna.
As I said, I was looking at what is the purpose of life.
As I said that I was looking what is the purpose of life.
And I was visiting professor from Harvard
And a visiting professor from Harvard
and told about the life of Lord Buddha.
has told about the life of Buddha.
And then that inspired me that, he talks about reincarnation and so many things.
That inspired me about reincarnation and so many other things.
Being in the West, we had no access to it.
Which being in the West, we had no access.
I don't know how much access Indian students have.
I don't know how much access the Indian students have.
It's just somehow a little spark in me that maybe you want to find a guru or find a teacher.
But it's like it lit a spark in me, maybe to find a guru, to find a teacher.
Of course, Prabhupada said in previous life I was a devotee.
Of course, Srila Prabhupada said that in my previous life I was a devotee.
Maybe there will be some people who are devotees in the previous life.
Maybe there are some people who are devotees in the previous life, I don't know.
And some people may be coming new.
Some people may be coming new.
So one has to be ready for a different kind of situation.
One has to be ready for the different kind of situation.
Now, when I came to the temple, nobody had any time for me.
When I came to temple, nobody had any time for me.
All busy.
They were all busy.
Then I was sent to Jayananda Prabhu.
Then I was sent to Jayananda Prabhu.
And he was building a Rath cart.
And he was building a Rath cart.
He asked if I knew how to hit a nail.
He asked me,
I asked if I knew how to hold a nail first.
He asked me, did I know how to hold a nail?
Oh, I held it.
So I held it.
So he got in the wood, took the hand away.
So he got in the wood and I put my hand away.
Very good.
He said, very good.
Because that's the whole trick, holding a nail.
Because that's the whole trick, how you hold the nail.
You should leave your hands, you don't get your thumb smashed.
You should leave the nail so you don't get your thumb smashed.
And he said, you know how to hit a nail?
Then he asked me, do you know how to hit a nail?
Sure.
Sure.
Because my uncle was he had a wood shop in his basement.
Because my uncle had a wood shop in his basement.
And then I hammered some nails.
Then I hammered some nails.
Okay, they said, okay, I passed the preliminary exam.
He said, then I passed the preliminary exam.
Then he gave me the service.
Then he gave me the service.
Now that service was something I like to do at night.
That was a service which I like to do, which was something nice.
So I think that's the trick for the youth is whether it's prasad distribution or something, engage them in some service.
I think that's the trick for the youth, prasad distribution or something, but engage them in something.
And then you do service, you hear while you're doing service, you hear from the more senior devotees.
And by doing service, they hear from more senior devotees.
And then that way you get purified.
And that way you get purified.
I was engaged in a lot of different services.
I was engaged in a lot of different services.
Very, very nice points, Maharaj. Very kind of you. Thank you, Maharaj. Among you can ask other devotees to ask questions.
Maharaj, one devotee is asking that since nowadays boys are addicted to various kind of bad habits, and that's why to preach to them direct Krishna consciousness, they are not able to appreciate. So that way some bridging topics are required so that we can make some bandha with them. and then later on we are able to speak pure Krishna consciousness. But when we speak other topics, sometimes we feel that we may not be doing this loyalty to Guru Parampara. Like sometimes we take say anger management and stress management and all that. So that can sometimes feel dry as well. But we also see this as a need of youth preaching in the beginning times. So how to balance this, Maharaj?
Because nowadays the boys are being addicted to various bad habits, and we have to do some bridging topics like anger management and all other things which are not directly preaching, but these are required also. So how to have a balanced approach, connect somehow the boys indirectly through these bridging programs. Because if we speak about this anger management, these are not directly preaching, we are not representing the acharyas like that. So how to have a balance.
Actually, we must appreciate Maharaj that despite being busy with management services as well, Maharaj is still he's continuing with our session.
How much bridging programs, how much
Yeah. So that's Maharaj's greatness that despite being busy with other schedules, Maharaj is still giving us time. We are very grateful to Maharaj.
And somehow, I don't know, our presentation was how to be happy.
somehow there was a presentation how to be happy.
And that was very interesting because
That was very interesting because
I wasn't happy.
I was not happy.
I had sense gratification,
I had sense gratification,
but it wasn't satisfying.
but it was not satisfying.
So somehow, if we want to tell the people that
So somehow if you want to tell the people that
by practicing Krishna consciousness,
by practicing Krishna consciousness,
they become happy.
they can become happy.
And now, bridging programs can somehow bring them into Krishna consciousness.
So if the bridging programs can somehow bring them to Krishna consciousness,
That would be ideal.
that would be ideal.
If anger management includes some aspect of Krishna consciousness,
If anger management includes some aspects of Krishna consciousness,
some practices that they can do,
some practices that they can do,
some ways that they can control their anger
some ways that they can control their anger
by dovetailing it.
by dovetailing it.
So, we said bridging, take us over a bridge, go on the other side of the river,
So bridge is to take us over the other side of the river.
and then take us to Krishna consciousness.
That means take us to Krishna consciousness.
At the end of the bridge, should be something Krishna conscious.
So at the end of the bridge there should be some Krishna consciousness.
And although the attraction is okay, anger management, for instance,
Although attraction is okay, anger management for instance,
what we learn that we can practice, we can control our anger through Bhakti Yoga.
we learn that we can control our anger through Bhakti Yoga.
So, the Bridge program actually does that, actually bridges us to Krishna consciousness.
In bridge program, it actually bridges up, it should actually bridge us to the Krishna consciousness,
At least to some extent.
at least to some extent.
And, like you say, that people have many lusty desires or bad habits.
Like you said, that people may have many lusty desires, many bad habits.
I saw today in the TV
I saw today in the TV
that in some states, 3 or 5 states of the USA,
in some 3 or 5 states of the USA,
they did a referendum and made marijuana smoking for recreation legal.
they did a referendum and they did marijuana legal for recreation.
It was previously legal for medicinal use.
It was previously legal for medicinal use.
Now it's legal for recreation in some state.
But now it's legal for recreation in some states.
So, all kinds of bad habits people have.
So all kinds of bad habits people have.
Not only drinking, smoking,
Not only drinking, smoking,
illicit sex.
illicit sex.
Actually, no. None of these things give one satisfaction.
But actually we know that none of these things give actually satisfaction.
But we cannot directly attack these things.
But we cannot directly attack these things.
Rather, we try to present the positive thing of chanting, meditation,
Rather than that, we try to present the positive things of chanting, meditating,
and then when they're more ready,
and then when they're more ready,
when they ask the appropriate questions,
when they ask appropriate questions,
we may reveal that the bad habits should be controlled.
we may reveal that the bad habit should be controlled.
It's a gradual process.
It's a gradual process.
As that Prabhupada said, that it takes buckets of blood.
That's why Prabhupada said that it takes buckets of blood.
Not easy to make a devotee.
Not easy to make a devotee.
Think only people now are addicted to bad habits? Do you think only people now are addicted to bad
Do you
habits?
think people only now have bad habits?
I think before I was 12, I had already broken all the regular principles.
I think before I was 12, I would have broken all the regulative principles. Moglila Prabhu,
Thank you, man.
are we
Yes, yeah.
Are we done?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we are done. Thank you, Maharaj, for taking out your precious time, Maharaj. Your very presence is very auspicious, very inspiring, very purifying, very uplifting, very empowering. Thank you very much, Maharaj, for your divine presence. Thank you very, very much. Such wonderful answers you gave to all our questions. Thank you very much, Maharaj, for taking out time. Very grateful to you.
We have a
Hari Bol.
Jayapataka Swami app. If you want, anyone can download it. It's on Android and Apple.
We have a Jayapataka Swami app. It's available both for Android and Apple users.
I give daily messages,
I give daily multiple messages,
and I'll message this program.
and I'll message about this program also on the app.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
I urge all the devotees, please do install this app in your Android phone, iPhones, so that we can get more and more regular association of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj ki jai. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Very, very grateful to you coming here to this ISKCON function program.
Thank you, yes.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Do you like our ad-free videos? Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day, and don't forget to like and share our channel.